Harry and Meghan balance paid appearances with charity causes in a royal visit unlike any before.
Harry and Meghan are back with another Monteceto money grab.
Is it a heartfelt reconciliation between the feuding royals?
Something appears to have cracked behind the polished walls of the royal family, where carefully guarded secrets rarely escape public view, and every whisper carries enormous consequences. Now, fresh shockwaves are reportedly spreading after renowned designer Jeff Banks allegedly revealed troubling details surrounding Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, leaving Prince Harry visibly shaken as tensions behind the scenes continue to intensify. So, what exactly was revealed that has suddenly reignited fierce speculation about the Sussex household and sent royal watchers into a worldwide frenzy? Do you believe the truth about Archie and Lilibet has been hidden for too long? Or is this simply another storm surrounding the royal family? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And to help us uncover more untold royal stories and hidden palace drama, subscribe so more people can discover this. The questions growing around Monteceto. What happens when the carefully protected image of a global celebrity couple suddenly collides with questions that refuse to disappear? Over the last few years, whispers surrounding Meghan Markle and Prince Harry have slowly moved from obscure online forums into mainstream conversations, and now the discussion feels louder than ever. A recent appearance by Jeff Banks on GB News reignited a storm that many believed powerful media circles had spent years avoiding. Instead of offering polite commentary, he raised claims that touched nearly every sensitive chapter connected to the Sussex story. From the beginning of Harry and Meghan's relationship to the ongoing speculation surrounding their family life in Monteceto. For years, the public was told a simple, almost cinematic story. A British prince meets an American actress through mutual friends, romance develops, and history is made. However, critics now argue that the widely reported meeting at Soho House may not have been as spontaneous as first believed. According to growing speculation, the introduction could have been carefully arranged long before the public became aware of it. That theory alone has sparked controversy, but it is only the beginning of wider questions now surrounding the couple. The discussion intensified when long-standing online rumors about the births of Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet resurfaced in public debate. For years, such claims were dismissed as internet gossip too sensitive for mainstream broadcasters. Yet, as they began appearing in televised discussions, many viewers felt boundaries were shifting and previously avoided topics were entering public discourse. Another claim adding to the debate involves Meghan's age. Official records state she was born in 1981, but critics have suggested inconsistencies in her early background. While unverified, supporters and skeptics alike argue that such claims, if ever proven, could influence how people interpret her Hollywood career, personal timeline, and royal journey following the 2018 wedding. What makes the situation more complex is that remarks from individuals linked to Meghan's earlier life, including some family members, have only fueled further speculation rather than resolving it, leaving many questions still unanswered today. Now, with every interview, every television debate, and every resurfaced detail from the past, the polished royal fairy tale that once dominated headlines appears increasingly fragile, leaving millions wondering which part of the story was real all along. The earliest traces of Meghan Markle's life, long before royal duty, remain scattered across forgotten photos, conflicting accounts, and unanswered questions that still fuel debate today. But what exactly do these fragments reveal about her past, and why do those closest to her respond with such silence and fierce defense whenever her early story resurfaces? Let's find out. Secrets behind Meghan's rise. Long before the palace balconies, royal headlines, and carefully staged appearances, there was another version of Meghan Markle that continues to stir endless debate online. Not because of a single scandal, but because so many pieces of her earlier life seem to exist in fragments, scattered between old photographs, forgotten connections, and conflicting stories that refuse to disappear. What has made the conversation even louder is the strange mix of silence and defense coming from the very people closest to her. One of the most unexpected voices to challenge ongoing rumors has been Meghan Markle's half-sister, Samantha Markle. Despite years of public disagreements, she has dismissed claims questioning Meghan's age, pointing to 1975 as her confirmed birth year, and noting she was already 11 years old while the family lived in Chicago. She also referenced school photographs from 1986 showing Meghan performing on stage, arguing that the timeline clearly contradicts online theories. The irony is striking, as a longtime critic stepping in to defend her adds weight against growing speculation. However, the age debate is only a small part of wider public fascination with Meghan's past. Much attention has shifted to what some describe as her missing years, before she became a global figure through her relationship with Prince Harry. These years, particularly her time traveling across Europe and the Mediterranean, continue to fuel curiosity. Old yacht photographs, luxury party images, and accounts of elite social gatherings frequently resurface, each adding to ongoing debate about her early social life. The phrase "yacht girl" often appears in these discussions, though it remains controversial and strongly disputed. Supporters see it as an unfair attempt to damage her reputation, while critics claim it reflects her access to wealthy and influential circles long before her royal connection. Independent commentators, including Jessica Reed Krause, have also contributed to the conversation, suggesting there may be links between Meghan and high-level social networks associated with luxury travel culture in the early 2000s. What makes the story especially intriguing is how these alleged connections seem to overlap with another name that keeps appearing in discussions surrounding Meghan's rise: Soho House. For many observers, the exclusive private club has become more than just a social venue. It is viewed as the bridge between aspiring Hollywood ambition and elite international influence, a place where celebrities, business figures, and future opportunities quietly intersected behind closed doors. Marcus Anderson remained a quiet figure outside royal headlines, yet his presence keeps resurfacing in both palace whispers and Hollywood circles. But what exactly connects him to Meghan Markle's early world? Was her entry into royal life truly accidental, or influenced by unseen relationships within elite networks like Soho House? And how deep do these behind-the-scenes links really go? Let's uncover the astonishing details. The hidden circle around Meghan and Harry. Marcus Anderson is not a name many royal followers heard at first, yet behind palace gossip and Hollywood whispers, his presence keeps appearing like a shadow in the background. Long before the world watched Meghan Markle walk beside Prince Harry, Marcus had already built powerful connections through Soho House, a world where celebrities, wealthy insiders, and influential figures crossed paths behind closed doors. Critics now look back at those early years and wonder whether Meghan's entry into royal life was truly accidental or carefully guided by people who understood status, media attention, and influence better than most. To them, the story no longer feels like a simple romance that exploded in 2016. Instead, it resembles a carefully managed rise into one of the world's most famous institutions. That suspicion only grew stronger after the couple stepped away from royal duties in 2020 and rebranded themselves as global media figures through interviews, documentaries, podcasts, and streaming deals. Every public appearance appears carefully managed, every statement deliberate, and even their silence often speaks louder than words. Yet despite the attention surrounding the Sussex brand, the most enduring mystery remains their children. The limited public visibility of Prince Archie of Sussex and Princess Lilibet of Sussex has sparked ongoing debate in royal circles. While the couple maintains they are protecting their children's privacy, critics argue that this secrecy has only intensified public curiosity. Unlike traditional royal births, which were marked by formal announcements and detailed public records, the Sussex approach appeared more private and less detailed. When Prince George of Wales, Princess Charlotte of Wales, and Prince Louis of Wales were born, official notices included precise medical confirmations and immediate public acknowledgement. In contrast, Archie's birth in 2019 and Lilibet's arrival in 2021 were accompanied by questions and discussion over missing details. As speculation spread online, even minor reports attracted scrutiny. Claims about medical professionals linked to Lilibet's birth further fueled discussion. Whether accurate or not, the ongoing uncertainty continues to deepen public fascination, turning silence into a powerful part of the modern royal narrative. Whispers that once stayed behind palace walls have now erupted into global speculation, where every appearance fuels fresh theories and debate. But how did a simple California family narrative spiral into secrecy, silence, and suspicion? And what role did controlled messaging play in turning curiosity into an obsession no one can ignore? Let's unravel the details. The life Harry left behind. Questions that were once whispered quietly behind palace walls have now exploded across social media, television panels, and royal commentary channels, creating an atmosphere where almost every public appearance sparks a fresh wave of speculation. What should have been a simple story about family life in California has instead become wrapped in mystery, secrecy, and endless debate. For many critics, the silence surrounding certain personal matters has only made the rumors louder, convincing some that too much effort is being spent controlling the narrative rather than calming it. Comparisons have even emerged to the unusual lengths celebrities once used to shield their children from public attention, turning curiosity into obsession. Yet the bigger fascination may no longer be Meghan at all. Increasingly, attention has shifted toward Prince Harry himself, and the striking contrast between the two versions of him the public now seems to witness. There is the carefully managed Monteceto version, polished appearances, controlled interviews, glossy videos, and staged moments designed for global audiences. Then there is the Harry seen far away from California, the one photographed during solo visits to places like Ukraine and Australia, where many observers noticed something unexpected. He appeared lighter, calmer, even energized in a way that reminded people of the prince they believed disappeared years ago. Those differences have fueled growing theories that the life built after 2020 may not truly suit him. Long before streaming deals and celebrity branding, Harry thrived in highly structured environments shaped by duty, military discipline, and public service. Friends of the monarchy argue that the fast-moving world of royal engagements once gave him a clear purpose, while life inside a luxury California mansion appears far more disconnected from the identity he spent decades building. Some body language analysts pointed to a tense public appearance in Jordan, claiming Harry looked emotionally distant and eager to leave the moment cameras stopped rolling. The speculation has become even more intense because, while Harry and Meghan continue sharing their personal truth, the royal family itself appears to have quietly adapted without pause. By 2024, public attention increasingly centered on a different group altogether: Prince William, Princess Catherine, Prince Edward, and Sophie. Many royal supporters now describe them as the monarchy's new Fab Four, presenting a stable image of continuity, while the California chapter grows more complicated with every headline. And perhaps that is what makes Harry's situation so captivating to the public, the sense that he may still be caught between two worlds, unable to fully return to the one he left, yet never completely at peace in the one he chose. Edward and Sophie's rising public admiration has quietly reshaped royal attention, symbolizing stability at the heart of the institution. But why does this growing spotlight on one branch of the family seem to deepen Prince Harry's sense of exclusion? And how are shifting royal roles creating a divide that may no longer be reversible? Let's uncover the intriguing details. Quiet crowns and shifting shadows. The Wessex to Edinburgh couple, Edward and Sophie, have quietly stepped into a new public light, earning admiration for their calm presence and steady sense of duty. Across the royal landscape, their rising image is being shared widely, seen by many as a sign of stability within the institution, quietly reshaping public attention. Far away from that calm picture, Prince Harry appears trapped in a different reality, where visibility does not always bring comfort, especially as images of working royals trend without him. To him, the growing admiration for his brother's circle feels like a closing door, a reminder that roles inside the family are shifting in ways that are hard to reverse. At the same time, a quiet pressure is building around him, the question of money and how long attention-driven projects can sustain their lifestyle. The initial shock after leaving royal duties generated strong interest in books, interviews, and podcasts, but that wave is now slowing. As income pressure increases, tensions grow sharper, and past bold decisions begin to feel heavier under expectation. Reports suggest Harry's frequent travel reflects both personal urgency and a wish to mend family gaps, though King Charles remains measured and firm in response. The monarchy, under his steady approach, appears focused on silence, routine, and allowing time and discipline to guide the outcome. A striking contrast to this restraint is found in a remembered moment involving Queen Elizabeth II, revealed by commentator Alistair Bruce. During the Queen's funeral in London on 19 September 2022, Bruce noticed his husband Stephen seated in a privileged position, something he later learned was personally arranged by the Queen herself.
Well, we're all very moved at the loss of the Queen. She was a giant in a very slight frame.
It was a simple but powerful gesture, showing a private kindness that never needed public attention or explanation, yet spoke deeply about her character. Such moments continue to shape how her legacy is understood, not through grand statements, but through quiet acts that left lasting respect across generations. Against this backdrop, the royal story feels divided between visible change and quiet continuity, where some figures rise in public approval while others search for direction outside the spotlight. What remains clear is that influence within the monarchy is no longer measured only by title, but by timing, patience, and how each role is carried in silence and restraint. As public opinion shifts around Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, their image stands in stark contrast to the enduring legacy of Queen Elizabeth II and Princess Diana, who still command deep admiration. But what does this growing divide reveal about duty, legacy, and the future of the monarchy? And where does Harry's search for purpose truly lead next? Let's find out. The Sussex narrative in a divided spotlight. While the public standing of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle continues to shift in opinion polls, their image contrasts sharply with that of long-revered figures like the late Queen Elizabeth II and Princess Diana, who still rank highly in surveys such as YouGov polls. This contrast has fueled ongoing discussion about duty, legacy, and the value of quiet public service compared to modern personal branding. Observers in London and beyond often point out that the monarchy's endurance does not rely on any single individual, even as Harry appears to search for a renewed sense of purpose after stepping back from royal duties. Since relocating to Monteceto, California in the United States, Harry and Meghan have built a media-focused life that has drawn both attention and criticism, especially as public curiosity about their past decisions continues into 2024 and 2025. While earlier years after their departure from the royal household were marked by widespread sympathy and global media deals, recent coverage has become more questioning, with journalists and commentators revisiting claims, rumors, and inconsistencies that circulate online. At the same time, admiration for figures like the late Queen remains strong, often highlighting the idea that respect is built slowly over decades, rather than through rapid fame or publicity campaigns. For Harry, this evolving landscape can be difficult, as the institution he left behind continues to function steadily without relying on his presence or public influence. Despite intense media interest, the Sussex's public narrative has become increasingly complex, shaped by documentaries, interviews, and ongoing debates about privacy, accountability, and modern royalty. Supporters argue that they are victims of unfair scrutiny, while critics suggest that certain strategic decisions have contributed to the ongoing controversy surrounding their public image. As conversations continue across both traditional media in London and digital platforms worldwide, questions persist about what long-term legacy will ultimately define Harry and Meghan's place in modern royal history, especially as new narratives emerge and older ones fade into public memory. Even as debates intensify, the broader monarchy continues its work with steady routine, reinforcing the contrast between enduring institutional tradition and fast-moving public storytelling that surrounds the Sussexes, leaving observers divided on whether time will soften perceptions or deepen the divide further in years ahead. Ultimately, their story remains one of shifting perception, where fame, service, and public expectation continue to collide in unpredictable ways across global audiences and media landscapes today and beyond. What do the King's private reactions to recent pressures really reveal about the shifting balance inside the House of Windsor? And how do rising financial strains, reputational risks, and the emergence of the so-called new Fab Four point to a deeper struggle for continuity hidden behind royal tradition? Let's uncover the intriguing details. The quiet shift beneath the crown. The latest developments within royal circles have left even seasoned observers recalibrating what they thought they understood about the House of Windsor, as private reactions from the king to recent maneuvers are said to be unexpectedly revealing, especially under growing financial and reputational pressure that may finally strip away the carefully maintained image. Across this shifting landscape, the so-called new Fab Four are being quietly framed as the forward-facing image of continuity, while memories of the late Queen's final acts of kindness are increasingly invoked as a moral benchmark against which the present turmoil is measured. That comparison has sharpened an uncomfortable divide between a legacy rooted in silence and duty and a modern public persona driven by narrative control, constant visibility, and a hunger for relevance that never seems satisfied. Behind the scenes, renewed attention is being paid to long-standing claims of an engineered romance narrative, with whispers that even early reporting around Archie's birth involved quiet cooperation from palace-linked channels, a claim that now appears to be resurfacing through selective leaks. At the same time, frustration inside palace walls is said to have intensified as unexpected visits and scheduling conflicts involving Harry have repeatedly overlapped with Prince William's commitments and even Prince Louis's birthday, creating a perception of deliberate disruption rather than coincidence. The institution, however, is believed to be playing a long game, confident that scandal eventually fades while tradition endures, a view reinforced as the approaching centenary reflections on Queen Elizabeth II prompt the public to reconsider the meaning of stability and continuity. Even former supporters, including media figures who once championed the couple, are now reportedly revising their stance, speaking more openly about strained dynamics and suggesting that the relationship challenges may be far more entrenched than previously admitted. Attempts to sustain a parallel court-like influence from America are increasingly seen as faltering, as the tension between private citizenship and global influencer status proves difficult to reconcile, with critics arguing that the constant pursuit of titles, security, and relevance only deepens the impression of strain. Further scrutiny of the so-called Mediterranean years and long-standing Soho House connections continues to complicate the broader Sussex narrative, with previously celebrated details now being re-examined in a harsher light, leaving the entire foundation of their public story appearing less like solid ground and more like shifting sand, as questions about authenticity, intention, and long-term stability remain unresolved today. How far can a game of perception go before public trust finally breaks, turning admiration into doubt and reshaping everything once believed to be solid? As Harry watches from Monteceto while the Fab Four moves on without him, how did a prince once at the center of global attention end up on the margins of it all? Let's find out. The price of public attention. The game they are playing has led many to question almost everything around them. Once public trust begins to fade, it rarely returns in full, and the cost is often total withdrawal of the very audience they once hoped to inspire. What remains is a widening gap between image and reality, where admiration slowly turns into doubt. In that space, Harry's position becomes more visible. A man raised at the center of global attention now finds himself living on the edges in Monteceto, watching from afar as his father and brother continue forward with new confidence, shaping what some call a modern Fab Four without him. The contrast is sharp, and the emotional weight is hard to hide. He moves between moments of action and reflection, appearing in places like Ukraine and briefly in Australia, as if searching for a steady sense of direction, yet each journey still ends with a return to California. Long before this, there were expectations tied to public image. The Australia visit was once seen as proof of global appeal, a chance to show strength and unity. But what unfolded behind closed doors told a more complicated story, far from the polished surface presented outside. Still, the deeper lesson is not only about travel or headlines. It is about influence and how it is truly earned. A quiet example often referenced in royal circles shows that lasting respect does not come from constant visibility but from restraint, dignity, and consistency in private conduct. Even figures like Queen Elizabeth II demonstrated that authority can be strongest when it is least spoken, supported by those such as Alistair Bruce, who often highlight the importance of tradition and behavior over publicity. That contrast now stands beside the current rebranding efforts of the Sussex narrative. As statements are made, interviews are released, and projects are launched, the public's response grows more cautious. Trust, once shaken, becomes difficult to rebuild, and audiences begin to step back instead of leaning in. Everywhere, the sense remains that the world is observing closely. Every move is recorded, every shift discussed, and every silence interpreted. The story is no longer just about royalty or distance, but about relevance, identity, and whether modern influence can survive without the quiet foundation that once held it together. In the end, attention may be loud, but respect is far more fragile than it appears in the public view. Whispers across royal circles suggest King Charles has grown uneasy over how California appearances linked to Harry and Meghan blur the line between royal duty and private enterprise, straining long-held protocol. But what exactly has triggered this frustration? And how did these public actions raise deeper questions about the boundaries of royal identity and independence? Let's find out. Shifting crowns and quiet power. Whispers across royal circles suggest King Charles has grown increasingly unimpressed with the way recent California appearances tied to Prince Harry and Meghan have been managed, seeing them as blurred between duty and private enterprise that confuses the public and strains royal protocol. Inside Buckingham Palace, the message is firm that one cannot remain partly inside the institution while also building an independent commercial life that draws on royal identity. Since the couple settled in Monteceto, California in 2020, expectations were high after major deals with Netflix and Spotify, along with book advances, promised a steady stream of income and influence. Yet over time, projects have stalled or been cancelled, citing creative differences, while the public appetite for repeated victim narratives has begun to fade. Without the structure of royal backing, their brand now competes like any other celebrity presence in a crowded global market. Recently, there has been a noticeable shift toward lifestyle branding and rapid website rebranding, which observers interpret as a scramble to stabilize finances while sustaining a high-security, high-cost way of life. Meanwhile, in the United Kingdom, King Charles remains focused on strengthening stability within the monarchy and ensuring the institution project's calm continuity after years of public turbulence. The rise of Prince Edward and Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, has become one of the more surprising developments in recent royal years, especially as they have quietly stepped into greater public visibility. Once seen as background figures, they are now increasingly embraced for their steady approach and sense of duty that resonates strongly with the public. In contrast to the more dramatic image often associated with modern celebrity royal narratives, their rise signals a renewed preference for consistency over spectacle. Across Britain, there is a growing sense that duty and dignity are once again defining the monarchy, while public attention quietly shifts toward those who maintain, rather than reinvent it. For many observers, this shift marks a subtle but decisive change in royal favor dynamics moving forward now. So, what do you think really caused Prince Harry's emotional breakdown after Jeff Banks revealed shocking news about Archie and Lilibet? Could there be more hidden truth behind it all? We'd like to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe.